And hopefully, just like that, I'm live. I hope I'm live. I don't know if I'm live. I haven't been live. I haven't made a piece of content in 30 days. So, this is my first piece of content in 30 days with my setup in a completely different location. So, I'm doing a little tech check from Puerto Rico. So, let me see. I'm going to go live over here on IG as well. Maybe. I don't know that I have this software connected properly, but anyway. So what's up? I know it might be a little echoey. I am in a house here with tile floors and concrete walls and flat surfaces everywhere. So that's a part of this tech check is to kind of hear what this sounds like coming through. So I'm running my Shure MV. Sorry, my dog is right over here. I don't know what she's doing. What are you doing, Sparkles? You gotta stay right there. You can't jump down. You gotta stay. You gotta use the bathroom. Yeah, of course you gotta potty. Of course, she's getting a potty right after I hit go live. You can probably hear her huffing and puffing. All right, so anyway, I'm doing a little tech check here. Not gonna be very long. Don't know what happened to Instagram. Looks like it doesn't look like it worked out. So probably not working over there. Don't really know why. But we'll figure it out later. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see if it's going live everywhere else though. All right, so yeah, let's see. Facebook. There you go. Laid down. All right. It looks like it's working on Facebook. I can see myself over there. Back to just a plain, boring old backdrop. Got a little corner here as well. I'm not a huge fan of shooting in a corner, but the way that our house is laid out, this makes the best sense for our setup. So I'm moving from a 400 plus square foot office to probably about, I don't know how many square feet. This whole room is probably 50 or 100 square feet, but I am doing, yeah, I'm not taking up the whole room. So there's furniture in this other piece of the room. And part of the strategy of leaving that furniture is to absorb sound, because these are, I think, like 10-foot ceilings or something crazy, in their concrete. So everything is concrete in this house. So there is Facebook. So let me jump over here to YouTube. Make sure YouTube is working. Looks like YouTube is working. All right. So it looks like that's going good. So we'll just see how this sounds, and excuse me, how this looks. I just ate something right before I jumped on live. So check out this funny sticker. I don't know if you can see this sticker or not. I can't remember. One of these, I think this is an empanada. I can't remember what this other one is, but apparently these are in competition here on the island of which one is the best. I think one's made in different parts of the island. So anyhow, yeah, so I'm just doing a little tech check here. So jump in the chat, say hello. I haven't made a piece of content. This is my first piece of content I've made in 30 days, which has been just insane. So April 18th, my wife and I decided that we were going to move to Puerto Rico again. So some of you may have followed us on that journey the first time. We came down, we rented an Airbnb for 1 year. It was awesome, made some amazing friends, moved back to North Carolina, I think for like 2.5, 3 years, maybe 3 years back there. And then we decided, you know what? We're gonna go back to Puerto Rico, but this time we're gonna do it differently. We're gonna go rent our. Of course, we rented our own space last time, but once again, it was an Airbnb. It was all inclusive, so you didn't really have control of different, aspects of the property. And so now we do. We got better internet. We got a lot of fun stuff going on. So yeah, it's a very exciting, and the cool part about being back here is we made really good friends with the people who own the Airbnb that we stayed in. So we've already hung out with them several times. And then we've made a lot of friends throughout the way. So anyhow, I'll update you guys more on that later. But that is my setup. So now I am back into my house but a different house. So we sold our house in North Carolina. We moved to Puerto Rico, and this is my new little setup. So I've just been messing with that today. What is going on, Hank? What is going on? Sisto, Jim Fuse, back to PR. Yep, we are, Jim. We are back to PR. Having a good time. Brian Little, what's up? Good evening. Good evening. Hank, I'll see you at Ecamm Creator Camp. Will I see you there, Hank? I'm going back. I just booked my flight today. So we're going to be going back, talking about some workflows of how I've been able to create almost 4,000 videos in the last 2.5 years. Well, almost 3 years now, I guess. I guess next month will be 3 years. So I got to update my my timeline there. But I literally haven't made any content. Yo, what's up, Matt Haas? Matt Haas. Haven't made any content in 30 days. It's been insane. 30 days as of yesterday, I think, is when I shut my account down. Oh, Nico. That's you, Nico. What's up, man? Good to see you over on YouTube. Nico is Maven Coffee. So if you guys ever heard me talk about Maven Coffee, that's my friend Nico. Best coffee on the planet. Make sure you get some. Nico, we're missing your coffee, man. We need to get some down here ASAP. But let me know how it sounds. Once again, this is the first whatever like attempt at going live or setting up. I just set all this stuff up today. Don't even have my third camera to show you what I set up, but just a big box light. I mean, it's my normal setup. 2 cameras, so camera here, camera overhead shot. So there you go. So that's a little overhead shot there. And this is where I'll clean all this up and still show some products and that kind of stuff. So, and then if I have a third shot, but yeah, let me know how it sounds. I still get a little proofing. I still get a little sound treatment, not soundproofing. I'm not going to soundproof, but that's two different things. So anyway, Matt says he loves coffee. Matt, check out mavencoffee.com. Let me go here. Let me live sell. I haven't live sold anything in such a long time. I don't even know if I have a scene set up for this. Do I have a scene set up to show my screen? I don't know what this screen's going to show. No. Okay. That's probably not a good thing. I don't know what this is going to show, but let me show it anyway. Let me see if I got one set up right here. Oh, man. Hold on. Do I have this one? Yeah. Check that out. Okay. I don't know why it looks so wild. But anyway. Yeah, this is Nico. Little Maven Coffee action here. And let's go shopping. Let's shop some coffee. He also sells some equipment too. But let's go for some coffee. Audio sounds good. I presume the container shipment arrived. Yes, it did, Matt. Yes, it did. I don't have any sound effects to cheer. But man, I was so pumped when that truck pulled up into our road. Man, I got so pumped. But then the reality set in of like, oh crap, I have a lot of work to do right now. Like I gotta unload this truck. So that's a fun journey. Like if anybody ever wants information on moving, and not just to Puerto Rico, but anywhere and how to do it, it's probably a pretty similar process. Probably a little easier to move to Puerto Rico than other countries, just because it's a commonwealth. But anyhow, yeah, so this is Maven. My favorite is the Signature Blend. Strawberry Fields is probably my wife's favorite. Very good. And I don't know what these other ones taste like because I don't think I've had them. I may have had this one. No, I don't think so. Anyway, there you go. Very good. Small batch Colombian coffee right there from Colombia. Super, super good. Now let's go back one and let's shop some equipment. And if you're into coffee, Nico is like a coffee connoisseur. I mean, he's just like a scientist. I was talking to somebody about him the other day, and I'm like, dude, this guy is like a scientist of coffee. So definitely check him out if you're like on the nerdy side of coffee. Then Nico will tell you all the things. I'm just like, oh, you know what? I just put it in the coffee maker and go for it. But I think that's a testament to how good coffee is or isn't. So if I go to Nico's coffee shop, he has a little showroom there in Wilmington. So if you're in that area, go check it out. Uh, and it's delicious. Obviously, the way he makes it, spent a lot of time curating recipes, doing the whole thing. And then I get a bag of it. I take it home. I just put it in my Mr. Coffee maker, and it's good. So all that is too fun. Let's see. We miss you guys. I see. We miss you guys. Tell us more about PR. The feed looks great. Cool. Yeah. So PR has been a lot of fun. It holds a special place in our heart. I mean, obviously Nico knows this too, but we came down here, I don't know, 4 years ago, 2021. So right during the whole like weird pandemic times, and I don't think the island wasn't at like full operational capacity. So it was a little bit different. So the first time I ever came here was the year, I think it was COVID or 2020. I say COVID like it's a year. So 2020, November 2020. And then I came down on a surprise trip, which was pretty fun. And then I loved it. So I was like, Ashley, we should go back. We should take our son. We should go back in January. So then we went back in January in 2021. And then we ended up moving several months later that year. And lived here, I think, for about 10, 11 months, right at a year or something like that. And so, anyhow, it was awesome. It was a crazy year. I had just, right at 2020, lost a business and was like really in this pivot transitional mode. And then you bring me to a place that is very hot. The house we rented at that time didn't have AC in the main living area. And so everything was just challenging for me. Everything about living here the first time was super, super challenging. We purchased a car here that was very challenging. That comes with a lot of fun stories. Then we, obviously, like I said, we rented this Airbnb, so everything was like included. And the internet wasn't the greatest internet, and so it was like very hard to run my podcast at that time. I had a saltwater fishing show I was doing. I had another podcast, which I'm actually relaunching. Little spoiler alert here. I'm going to relaunch my Creating Daily show. I probably should be recording episodes for that instead of just blabbing on a live stream. But anyway, so I'm going to do that to hopefully help people in this content creation world in space. So anyway, it came down, super frustrating, didn't have a lot of resources, several different things kind of happened during that time. But what it made me realize was like, dude, life is not what you think it is necessarily. And no matter how bad life gets, it's not over. Like, it's not the end. And so there was several things that happened that year that were very challenging for me. And even when I left Puerto Rico, I thought, you know what? I don't know if I'll ever go back there and move back there again. Like, it was good. I learned a lot of life lessons. I lost 67 pounds while living down here. So I got healthier. I got this new relationship with money that I never had before because I was always afraid I was never going to have money. I was always afraid. And then we had a situation where we bought a car and paid several $1,000s for it. And then we just felt like we should give it to someone that was in a situation that needed to, a transportation. So we gave it to them. And this was like in the States, happening in the States. And then, I'm trying to remember the details here. So we gave this car away. So that was like thousands of dollars. And then we were actually changing our payment method with our Airbnb. And so we were like excited about this payment method. That was going to be, changing, like, I don't know, like changing banks or whatever we were doing. And so instead of changing the payment method, they changed the payment plan. So they took out the remainder of our trip out of our account immediately. So, you think you're paying month to month, all of a sudden, all this money's gone. So we were out thousands of dollars. We just gave this car away. And then all of our money was gone. And we're I'm on this island at that time, and I'm just sitting here just thinking like, well, this isn't that bad. And what it really made me realize is like we had a lot of friends that were just like, well, whatever you guys need, we'll take care of you. If you need something while you get this sorted, whatever. And that was like this pivotal moment with finances that just changed my life. I wasn't afraid anymore. I wasn't afraid, like, what if I don't have money? I wasn't afraid of, what if I'm in a I mean, that year in Puerto Rico in 2021 was personally for me. Now, my wife and I have way two different experiences, which is so funny. But that journey for me was like the most uncomfortable that you could put me in ever. Not having resources, not having good connection, not having good, just like all these things. I wasn't comfortable. I had to work on a car every single day. This car, I get a tattoo of it on my arm because this car, like, taught me so many lessons. And one thing about this car, I'll share the story real quick because people are like, why do you have a tattoo of this car? It's a 1996 Montero Sport, I think. Montero Sport, is that what it was? I don't even remember. Anyway, this thing was like a little monster truck. And it was pretty cool because it was awesome. It was huge. It had big tires, and everything worked on it perfect for like 90 days. And then the AC broke, and we're like, okay, whatever. So roll all the windows down. Well, then it got to the point where it just leaked. Every fluid that it has, it just leaked. No one could figure out why this fluid was leaking. The oil was leaking. I don't know if the transmission fluid was leaking, but the what is that? The antifreeze or whatever was leaking. The radiator. And so no matter what we did, no one could really fix it. We paid to have stuff fixed and all this. And I'd have to go out there every single day and tend to this car and put stuff in it, blah, 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 blah. Well, then it got to the point where it would not go in reverse. And this is why I got the tattoo, or what it means to me, really. Now, my wife and I share a lot of stories about this car, and it was pretty funny. So we both got matching tattoos of it. And today's our 11th anniversary, by the way. So a little cheesy love story for you there. We're not really those people who are like kissing and posting it on Facebook and all that crap, but we had a lot of fun, relaxing day here. Good weekend, a lot of fun stuff. But anyway, now I'm trailing off the story. But this truck, dude, would not go in reverse. No matter what we did, you couldn't get it to go in reverse. Now, at first, when reverse first stopped working, you just wait a little bit and then put it in reverse, and then you get back up. But it eventually got to the point where you had to strategically position yourself to only go forward. So no matter what, this Montero Sport would not go in reverse, and so we had to put this thing in a position always when we parked to just go forward, and that was it. And so kind of that experience, was just a good reminder for me, like, no matter what you're doing or what I'm doing personally, I have to position myself to move forward, to go ahead. I can't come back. I can't do any of this stuff. And anytime I think, like, man, I'm having a hard day, I just think about that truck. And even one time we were parked at a local park here, and we were parked downhill, and people just piled in around us, and we couldn't do anything. And we couldn't speak Spanish, and the people we were trying to talk to didn't speak English. And so we're just sitting there, just waiting for them to get done doing whatever and move their car so we can move on. So anyway, that was pretty funny story of this truck in my experience of Puerto Rico the first time. And so when I left Puerto Rico, I left it thankful, one, but I was more thankful of like getting back to the States, getting back to stuff being fast, convenient, easy, comfortable. And I had this romantic kind of, thing going on inside of my mind of like what it was going to be like to move back to the States and how awesome it was going to be and how great. And there was a lot of fun stuff that happened in the last 3 years, but it wasn't, but there's still like this thing that was missing. There was like this, sense of community that's not a forced community, and it's not built around something. It's not built around, religion or sports or any of that kind of stuff. It's just like, this is just community. It's just people showing up for each other, no strings attached. And so I kind of missed that about Puerto Rico. I missed the simplicity about it. And so anyway, my wife and I, since we moved back to North Carolina, we had talked about how do we go and spend more and spend time in Puerto Rico, but do it differently and not do it, the same way. Because the first time we came down, we rented our house out, we kept it in North Carolina, and then we, had that stress as well because people be calling us while we're trying to hang out with other, we're trying to have community, trying to hang out, trying to do whatever. And somebody call and go, hey, the water line just got busted by the Spectrum guy and stolen the line. We got to have you fix it. And so anyway, all that stuff was, very frustrating. And so we always kind of talked about and dreamed about, like, what would it be like to come back to Puerto Rico and maybe do like a 6 and 6, or maybe do a 3 month and 3 month, or, we just kind of kept doing all this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And the reason why we didn't was because at that time, our business is, my wife can work anywhere as long as she has the internet. She can work anywhere. She's great. She's built an amazing business, doing her stuff. But my business is a little bit more, location heavy. And then it also relies on stuff coming from other countries, and in particular China. And so there was always this big question mark, like, can people or will people send stuff to Puerto Rico? Because even though it's a part of the U.S., it's still a little bit more expensive, a little bit more complicated. And so I didn't want to risk my business to move back down here, or to try to do 3 and 3 or whatever. She does graphic design and web design and stuff like that, Bez. So Bez has asked me what my wife does. You can tell I haven't made content or anything because my throat's already like sore. Like, this is the most I've talked in who knows how long. A month. Exactly a month. So anyway, so we kind of always like wanted to come back down here and figure it out. And maybe that was buy a second home or rent a spot, or whatever. Or we have some friends down here that sometimes rent off, 6 and 6 or whatever. And so we always like trying to figure this out, but I'm like, no, I can't do it because my business. Well, then our POTUS decided that he was going to slap 145% tariffs on China, and that is majority of my clientele. That's like a majority of my business. And so this was kind of the catalyst that sent us in this direction of thinking, like, could it be possible just to move back down there, back to Puerto Rico on a more permanent basis? And, I knew, like, okay, the tariff thing's going to work out, blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, we were like, well, maybe this is the time frame that just allows us to move back to Puerto Rico, and then we can figure out, from there what we do, or what I do, because like I said, my wife can do what she does from anywhere, basically. And so we made this decision on April 18th. It's April, May, June, so less than 3 months ago, right? And we made this decision that we're going to move, and we're going to sell everything. We're going to sell our house. We're going to do the whole thing. And then we're like, okay, let's do it. What's up, Sandra? What's up, Philip? I see you guys in the chat. What's up? What's up, Bez? Feel free to say hi in the chat wherever you're watching. Appreciate you guys jumping on my little random tech check. Just got my little studio space set up here. And this audio sounds real good. Now, I'm afraid if I switch over, I know the shotgun mic sounds terrible. I already tested it. And I have a little wireless kit that it sounds decent. But anyway, so we were, kind of kicking the idea around, and then we decided, like, we're just going to move, and we're going to sell our house. And, that's the story too. It's like we bought our house in 2018. We didn't really love it. Like, we looked at 2 other houses kind of that fell through during that time. And then we bought this other house that at that time was like a little fixer-upper. By the time we moved out of it, was like definitely a fixer-upper. And so anyway, we decided, like, let's just cut ties. Let's move. Let's take the positive equities. Let's pay off all of our debt. Let's put some money in the bank, and let's just go live the life that we want to live, and go do those things now. And so that's what we ended up doing. And so it was a crazy 30 days. And some of the people in my mastermind group are in the chat, and they could probably tell you, like, I was a hot mess. Running around. I was on a Zoom call. For my weekly Dealmakers mastermind group while somebody was loading up my car in shipping it. So we shipped 2 cars and we shipped a small container of stuff here. Actually, a large container, but we only took up a small portion. That's a whole different conversation. And so anyway, people were like freaking out. Like it was kind of funny because you have kind of 2 different people who would, types of people who would talk to you about it. One, I had those people who were legitimately concerned that we were just making this decision because of the tariffs. And I, probably being dramatic, that I'm a drama king or whatever. I was pretty hot about that and still am. And I'm not going to get political on this, but I was pretty hot about it. I was pretty fired up, and not super stoked on, that tariff situation. And so anyway, that was kind of my leading part of explaining why we were moving, but that was really not even the point of it. That just gave us an opportunity. That kind of gave us a window to figure out, what would I do, and would I be able to transition down here? Would people still send me products and all that kind of fun stuff? And I'll update you more on that later, because that's a big question mark. I've had some people send some stuff. I've had other people say they can't. I've had some people say they can if I negotiate a lower rate. All kinds of stuff's happening behind the scenes, but I am really focused on helping people who are, part of the Amazon Influencer Program, part of content creation, part of already creating product demo videos, to really scale their business, because I've been able to do that at a pretty high level. And so that's mostly what I'm going to focus on moving forward. So anyway, but it gave us this window to pack up everything up, to leave. So we sold everything that we didn't want, that we didn't use. And it really gave us this cool opportunity to like touch everything in our lives and go, is this worth keeping? Do we use this? Do we really need this? Or is this just baggage? Is this just something we've carried around? Excuse me. I'm a slacker. I need to hit the mute button. But, so anyway, it was really a cool experience to, it's like when you get home from vacation, you get a bunch of dirty laundry or whatever, you just like pull it out of your bag, you empty that suitcase. You know that feeling when you go on vacation, you come home and you still live out of your suitcase for a few days, and then you just like empty your suitcase and you're like, oh, finally I can put this thing away. That's what it was when we moved out of our house in North Carolina. Was like, this is it. Like, this is the end of a decade. So we had lived in that house for 7 years. We'd lived in Wilmington for 10 years, and we were like, this is good. This is good. This is the right timing. And it was crazy because everything came together within like days. So the first thing I do is start selling stuff, because that's my favorite part. I'm like, I'm going to drag stuff out in the yard and sell it all. So that's what I did. Facebook Marketplace, put it out in the yard, do whatever, just sell as much as I can, give it away, whatever we had to do. And then, so we had a couple options when we were selling our houses. Like, one, do the traditional thing, which if anybody freaking knows me and you've known me for more than 5 minutes, like, I'm just not going to do the traditional thing. There's nothing in my body, in my bones, in my world, in my life that I'm just going to go, yeah, let me sign up and do the traditional thing. I'm just not going to do it. I don't know why. It's not because I don't want to, because normally traditional things are very easy. Someone else has already done it. That's why it's a tradition. So it's very simple to just like go, oh, all right, I'll do whatever you've done because what you did worked. Not for me. No, doesn't work that way. Somehow in my brain, I go, wow, do we really need to do it that way? And so anyway, we get to this house selling process, and my wife is having a conversation with a barista at a coffee shop and another lady. And the other lady's like, oh, we live in this neighborhood. We rent. We are looking for a house to buy. And they had, kind of a situation with some houses and whatever. I'm not going to share all that. But anyway, this would be a big deal for them to be able to buy a house in this particular neighborhood. And so that we owned a property in. And so we started talking to them. We started talking to someone else. And it had a couple potential buyers lined up. And then we started looking into the process of like, us selling it versus hiring a real estate agent, yada, 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 yada. And so we end up selling it ourselves because, once again, we're not traditional. Can't do anything traditional. Got to do it the hard way. But it was a really interesting experience. Even that, there was a lot to be learned. There was certain personalities that, that when you talk to them, it is like, oh, well, I'm not going to work with you for 30 days. So never mind. So anyway, I won't tell all those stories, but there's a lot of fun stories just in that situation. So we literally sold stuff, packed stuff, sold our house, did everything ourselves in less than 30 days. So time of decision to my wife and my son. So they came here early, like a few days earlier than I did. And then I shipped our dog. So we literally shipped cars. We shipped 2 cars. We shipped 2 dogs. And we shipped a container of stuff. Obviously shipped ourselves. And so it's been a ton of fun. So anyway, I got a little distracted by telling all those stories, but hopefully it'll inspire somebody, to do something different and do something outside of your comfort zone and do the hard thing. Because even though all the pieces of this move came together relatively easy, it was still work and it was still complicated. It was still hard. It wasn't like, it was easy in the sense of like it lined up and it was like, okay, this is how it's supposed to be because we're not forcing anything. We're just going through the motions and figuring it out. But those motions were tough. It's like, I don't know. It's like you feel good when you work out, but working out still sucks. Like that's what this move felt like. So let's jump over to the chat real quick. Somebody said happy anniversary. Curtis, my guy, Curtis over there. Curtis, we were talking about coffee earlier. Curtis also has a coffee company. Be on the lookout for that if he's still here. If not, follow him and check him out. He's got some cool stuff going up, going in the pipeline. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to read and talk at the same time. Not my forte. Let's see what's up, Bez. Is it your anniversary? Yep, it is. It is my anniversary. Showing up for each other is important. Let's see. Happy Father's Day, Phil. Thank you. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. I got a couple of them. I didn't call either one of them. My bad. I've been busy building a studio, but they didn't call me either, so they're bad. How about that? What's up, Sandra? Good to see you. Bez, what's up? You have to show us the new views. Macy, I do have to show you that. I'll have to get some pictures. I'm messing around with my eCam stuff. I'll get some people saying hi to each other. Let's see. Are you close to the beach? Yeah. So this is the fun part. Is from our kitchen window at a distance. Now it's not close, but at a distance we can see the ocean. You can see the white caps. You can see where the wind's blowing and a ton of palm trees and all that fun stuff. From our road, it gets even better because it's more of a straight shot through the trees. There's like a little cutout right from our road where you can see right down. But yeah, we're about 4 or 5 minutes from the beach. Super excited about that. We go often. We haven't been a lot this week because we've been busy. But yeah, a lot of beautiful beaches. I can't remember how many miles of shoreline is in Puerto Rico, but we live on the West Coast, so plenty of stuff to do. When you talk about Puerto Rico, it all comes together. Man, it's been fun. Not about... oh, yeah. Bez says I'm not about coloring inside the lines. I want to be. I mean, there's parts of me that's literally, I just want to like get a job, work for somebody else, not think above my pay grade, like just do the simple thing, but I can't do it. Good to see you up and running. I'm at the gym. What's up, Amy? Amy's also part of our group and crushes it over on Amazon. Matt says what does it say? We need Star Trek style teleporters. That would be much easier compared to moving trucks and ships. Dude, you're not kidding. Actually, the funny part is here, there's this electric company called Loomis that apparently is like just not very good, just garbage. And that's why you see a bunch of power outages and all this kind of stuff on the island. Excuse me. And so anyway, they're supposed to put the power lines at a certain level. Well, but they don't. They put them lower. And so when my shipping container was coming, so how it works is we use this company called U-Pack, and they basically bring this 28-foot tractor trailer, the trailer part of it, and they drop it off in your yard or your driveway or whatever, and then you pay minimum for 5 linear feet. And then it's 8 by 9 by 5, basically. That's the minimum. And then you pay like $220 per additional linear foot. So if you go, 8 by 9 by 6, 7, whatever, it just keeps adding 220 after 5. And so when you get done packing your stuff, you have these 2 big, basically pieces of plywood with like metal bars strapped onto them. And that's like a bulkhead is what they call it. And then you put that up against your stuff and lock it into place. And then the driver takes a picture wherever the number is, and that's the number you pay. And I did get the 5. Man, we brought all kinds of stuff in that 5 by 8 by 9 part of that container, because I was not going over it. I was like a Scandinavian architect in there, man. I took it down, rebuilt it, took it down, rebuilt it, took it down, rebuilt it. And I was like, I'm not paying $1 over the minimum. So that was pretty fun. And so anyway, so then they hook it up to the truck. They take it to, I think, Jacksonville, North Carolina, or Florida. And then they put the whole entire bed or the trailer of the truck onto a shipping vessel and ship it down here, and then somebody grabs a truck and takes it and brings it to us. Now there's a lot of pieces in between that are crazy, but you have to like manifest stuff. You don't really pay like a customs. You don't really go through customs because Puerto Rico is a commonwealth of the U.S., and so you can freely come and go just with the driver's license or whatever. So it's kind of like moving to a different state, except for there's like a excise tax that you have to pay. So if you bring certain items over, you have to pay a tax on those. So you have to manifest your pallet or your shipping container and then what have you. So anyway, so that is kind of the process. So this guy, so back to the power line. So the guy, I see him pulling into my road, and we have a pretty narrow road. It's like there's only a few houses up through here. Super quiet, beautiful, and amazing breeze. It's fantastic. The breeze is fantastic. Okay. All right. That's my only Donald Trump terrible impression. But anyway, so the breeze is amazing. But anyway, he's pulling up this road, and I notice he's like going really, really slow. And I'm like looking, I'm like, man, what is happening? And then I notice like he's navigating the high side of the power lines because they come down from like a big power line to your house or whatever. And I didn't even think about that. And so, of course I run over and I'm like, hey man, I'm sorry. Like, is there anything I can do to help? And he's like, yeah, grab this. So he gives me this extension pole, and I'm just pushing up, like I'm pushing the power line up and I'm holding it, and he's just driving under it. I thought, man, I've never pushed up a power. I mean, it's a crazy experience. It's so funny. So anyway, so we did that, and then part of the deal when they drop it off for you to load it, you get like 3 or 4 days, and then when you drop it off to unload it, you're supposed to get 3 or 4 days. Well, this guy needed to make 2 deliveries on Friday. 1, my stuff, and then 2, an empty trailer to somewhere else by a certain time. And so they were like, hey, we're gonna have to delay your stuff until next week unless you can unload that truck in like an hour and a half to 2 hours. And I'm like, dude, I'll unload it in 45 minutes. Like, you better bring my stuff, man, because we were waiting on a couch, a washer and dryer. Like, we were waiting on all kinds of stuff. Obviously my gear to set up here. And so anyway, we're like hustling to get that done. And so finally we did, and it was awesome. And we unloaded it, and that guy was super nice. And then I held the pole for him to get under the power lines and get out of the neighborhood, I'll call it, our street. Oh man, so many fun experiences that we've had already just being back here, and it's a lot of fun to just live a different life and enjoy a different culture, embrace a different culture. Especially right now because right now in the States, there's like a lot of like us versus them going on. And I hate that because I've had the pleasure of traveling, had the opportunity and through different opportunities of working with people to be able to travel to a lot of different countries and meet a lot of different people and a lot of different cultures, a lot of different colors and sizes and ways of life. And at the end of the day, man, people are most people are just good people, period. And so to make wide brush strokes of judgment on other people and think of them to be less than or think of it as like us versus them, or I just hate that mentality. And so it's nice and it probably exists everywhere, right? There's probably a little competition in everything, in race, in class, in whatever it is, baseball fans versus football fans. Like, who cares? Like, there's probably all that, like us versus them. But there comes a point where it's just nasty. And so it's good to be out of that. It's good to be, somewhere where I'm the minority. Like, go be the minority somewhere and then put yourself in a very vulnerable situation where it's like, you know what? This is uncomfortable. I don't speak the language. I don't look like anybody. I walk into a store, everybody's eyes on me because like, oh, here's a white guy in Puerto Rico. Like, what's he doing? Are you living here? Are you vacationing here? What's going on? And so, put yourself in that position. It's a vulnerable position. It's a humbling position. And it really, gave me a clearer perspective the first time I lived here. Like what other people go through when they come to the States, when they don't speak the language, when they don't have the look, when they don't understand fully the culture. And obviously the United States is even Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is a small island, but the east side of the island versus the west side of the island versus the south versus the mountains, like there's different types of people all over the place on this really small, piece of land. And just like in the United States, it's like you have northern culture, southern culture, western culture. You have like all these different cultures. And, it's really just like, dude, embrace the culture. Embrace where you're at. Embrace what you have going on. Embrace the change that's happening. And freaking let people live and do their thing. And so anyway, personally, I was just sick of the us versus them mentality of everything. And, I work with Chinese companies. And I've made a lot of money working with Chinese companies. I teach other people how to make a lot of money with working with Chinese companies. And not one time have I ever been screwed over by a Chinese company or a Chinese person. Not one time. Not once. Not once in 2.5 years have I ever felt like someone just screwed me over. But I have with Americans. My first year in business, I lost $10,000 in business because no one wanted to pay their invoices. So it's like my experience is the exact opposite of what some other people's, what other people say. So anyway, I don't know. I guess I'm just saying, like, love each other, help your common fellow, your person, your people around you. And that's what I love about this island. I was talking to a young guy earlier. I went to go pick up an order from Walmart. Yeah, they have Walmarts. Some idiot the other day was like, you sleep on a dirt floor? I go, yeah, I do. I sleep on a dirt floor and poop in a bucket. Like, get out of your house, please. Like, do something with your life. Get out. Stop working your dead-end job until you can't see. Like, go travel. Go realize that people are good people and different cultures are fun. And so anyway, I go pick up this order today at Walmart. I'm talking to this young guy, and he's probably 22. I think he said he's 22. And, we were talking, and he said, well, what do you love so much about the island that you wanted to move back here again for the second time? I said, man, it's a community. Like, you literally, there's like, I don't know if it's because people live on an island and people just need each other or just want to help each other, or if it's just part of the culture, the attitude, the mentality. But it's like, dude, people want to come out and they want to talk and they want to say hi, they want to say good morning. Doesn't matter. I mean, literally one of the coolest things that I've been a part of, and that's just walking into a post office. I was in the post office, get my little PO box key, get my thing, get my little ticket that says, "Hey, you got a package," and I'm standing in line. There's probably 5-10 people in front of me. Lady walks through the door. Buen dia. Tells everybody good morning. Everybody turns around. Good morning. Everybody's telling good morning. And I'm like, and it's not like they know each other. It's not like she knew anybody standing in that line. She definitely didn't know me. She's saying hi to me, saying good morning to me. I'm like, man, what is that like? To slow down enough to just say good morning to the people around you. And that sounds crazy because it's so simple. But where I'm from, I mean, I'm from the South. Like, we're probably arguably some of the nicest, kindest people to your face. And anyway, so I just thought that was very interesting. So it's just a different experience. And, once again, it's not like Puerto Rico versus the States or versus wherever. It's just different. So I would encourage you, and I would challenge you, if you're checking out this video, to go get uncomfortable. And maybe your uncomfortable thing is to walk into the post office and say, "Hey, everybody, good morning." And maybe that's it. Or maybe it's just to talk to the neighbor you never talked to before. Or maybe it's just to help somebody mow their lawn, or to weed eat their grass. Or maybe, in my case, I never liked people parking in my yard when I lived in the States. And I often think now, I'm like, wow, it's probably not that big of a deal. You're having a party, you're having people over your house, you want somebody to, you got to have a place to park in my yard. I was so stingy about stupid grass. How crazy is that? Anyway, I'm done. That's a little bit of where I've been, what I've been up to. I do have a podcast called Creating Daily. You can go subscribe to that. I have about 61 episodes on there. The last few are probably just ramble. But I'm relaunching that. So I'm gonna make the first episodes. I got about 2 years mapped out of content if it picks up and goes that way. And the whole point of that podcast is to talk about the creator journey that I've been on for the last 2.5, 3 years, or maybe 5 years, actually. 5 years, because 2020 is when I transitioned over to full-time content creation and did not take the traditional route at all. That I've talked about earlier. Like, for whatever reason, that wasn't what I was doing. And so the whole point of the podcast is to share that journey, share that story, give you, insight, tips, tricks, strategies, invite you to be a part of, my mastermind group, or I'm going to be doing some 5-day challenges, all that kind of fun stuff. So that is what I have going on. And tonight was just all about a test. So I know this microphone sounds good. My wife and I were joking around. She's like, "Well, that microphone," because I took like little clips and put them on my phone and was letting her listen to them. Because I'm like, people are going to watch on their phone probably more than anything. And she's like, "Yeah, that one doesn't sound good, or that one sounds okay, but that one sounds really good." I'm like, "Well, it's a $400 microphone. This thing better sound good." But yeah, my friends over at Shure, man, they're awesome. So check those guys out. And yeah, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel that you're watching, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Do all the fun things that everybody that's real put together tell you to do, and helps out. So anyway, appreciate you guys, and we will talk to you soon. Beth says, "Love this dialogue." Matt says, "Thanks for sharing." And man, Matt, thank you, dude. Matt, I'm excited. I'm excited about what you sent me via text. Stoked on that for you, man. It's gonna be amazing. Yeah, it's gonna be. I can't say anything else. Done. I'll text you later. All right, I'll see you guys and gals. Have fun and talk soon.